Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great privilege for me, Charu Sharma, a fifth semester student of journalism and mass communication, to welcome you all to this very prestigious leadership webinar series, Season 2. The creation of avant-garde knowledge through inquisitive practices has paved the way for many institutions' vision and mission. Yet, without a sustained dissemination of knowledge, it is a practice in futility. Manipal University Jaipur is one such institution that believes that dissemination of knowledge is its core responsibility, and it is with this belief that university has been organizing various webinars for the benefit of Gen Z. The first season of Leadership Webinar Series was one such step towards reaping the benefit of dissemination of knowledge via having a meaningful dialogue with industry experts such as Mr. Sridhar Venkat, CEO of Akshay Patra Foundation, Mr. Kiran DM, CEO ONGC Foundation, Mr. Amish Tripathi, a world-renowned author, Mr. Ramanan Ramanathan, Additional Secretary, Niti Ayog, Mr. Jeet Kumar, an entrepreneur, and Professor Anil Sehstrabudhe, Secretary, SERB. For the ongoing interaction with industry experts under IMechE Student Chapter, Department of Manipal University Jaipur, presents before you two parallel roads, academia and industry, in conversation with Dr. Syrish Raghuyal. Dr. Syrish Raghuyal is the Managing Director of Positive Group of Companies, a leading manufacturer of plastic components in automobile and electronics market. He is a graduate in mechanical engineering and doctorate in engineering and industrial waste management from Cardiff University and MBA from Imperial College of London. He embarked his career with Tata Steel UK, previously known as Chorus Steel. As section and site support engineer, he led various projects with Tata Steel UK for the process and continuous improvement. He has written research and conference paper and has been a spokesperson for many international forums. He has been associated with IMechE since the year 2005 as the affiliate member, co-chair of Magnet Tata Steel UK, organizing activities and member engagement for professional development. He is an enthusiastic icon, leading business person with a great passion through engineering, innovation. Dr. Syrish Raghuyal has done various guest lectures and has been a supervisor to students in the field of engineering, finance, and business management project. It's indeed a great pleasure for all of us at Manipal University Jaipur to have you among us, sir. I would now request Dr. Syrish Raghuyal, Faculty Advisor, IMechE Student Chapter, Manipal University Jaipur, to please come upon and welcome our honorable guest.
Sir, mic unmute कर लीजिए.
Okay, good afternoon to all. On behalf of IMechE Student Chapter, Manipal University Jaipur, I welcome all of you for this leadership webinar series, Education for Gen Z. The topic of today's webinar would be two parallel roads, academia and industry. We are highly privileged to introduce the distinguished speaker for this session, Dr. Syrish Raghuyal, Managing Director, Positive Group of Companies, India. Sir, we welcome you for this webinar series, and and also we would like to welcome Professor Anup Kumar Mukhopadhyay, Dean Faculty of Science, Manipal University Jaipur. I welcome you, sir, for this webinar, and I welcome all the participants who are attending this webinar. Hope you have a very informative and interactive session for next 1 hour. Okay, thank you. Over to Charu.
चारू माइक म्यूट है आपका.
I would now like to invite Professor Anup Kumar Mukhopadhyay, Dean Faculty of Science, Manipal University, Jaipur. Professor Mukhopadhyay had served as Chief Scientist at CSIR, the Central Glass and Ceramic Research Institute of Kolkata. Sir, I would like to request you to please take us through the presentation on Manipal University, Jaipur.
Thank you, Charu, and also thank you, Professor Ashish. Instead of a presentation, I think we can also talk informally to the audience here. That's a much better way of doing things in a short time, particularly. Well, Manipal University Jaipur probably doesn't need much introduction. This is the first state private university established in 2011 at the state of Rajasthan by the Manipal Group, and we have 5 faculties: Faculty of Engineering, Faculty of Design, Faculty of Science, Faculty of Arts and Law, and Faculty of Management and Commerce. We have 13 schools, 30 departments, and 53 academic programs run by 465 faculty and dotted with 8,500 students and increasing. We also have 700 scholars. And that speaks about us, and we are accredited with NAC A+ grade, the first state private university in that category. We are also the best university of Rajasthan, awarded by the Institute of Engineers India Private Limited this year in 2020. We also are a university with the only university probably the 5-star Graha rating for all the campus of Manipal University Jaipur and also the hostel campus. That's a rare recognition of our environment-friendly development of the campus. We are also having a NEP 2020 aligned program, which will be fine-tuned in days to come. And we have 1,600 publications, as you can imagine, and more than 4,000 citations, 30 patents. Funding is tremendous: 160 lakhs worth of industry projects, more than 60 lakhs of consultancy projects. Faculty of Science, which I represent as Dean Faculty of Science, has more than 500 publications, about 12 crores of funding, and out of that 8 crores is of course from Erasmus project from European Union. We have 13 patents, 4 startups. Of that, 2 is from student, and 2 are from our own faculty. We have 3 allied IPers, more than 150 research scholars. 33 PhDs have been offered already from the university awarded, and we have large number of industry projects. One, for example, is from the Department of Physics, in which I am also a professor. This is from RI Nanotech, which is actually providing a Atmanirbhar Bharat program, and through that we are connected to the industry and similar others. And all our projects, the research that we do is totally socially relevant and technologically relevant, and that's why all our projects are supported by all the major government agencies like Department of Biotechnology, Department of Science and Technology, Science and Engineering Research Board, Imprint Program, ISRO, Department of Atomic Energy, DRDO, US Navy, ICMR, Ayush Raj, DSTA, Government of Rajasthan, and the list is endless. 97% of our PhD, our faculties are PhD, and many of them are having unique postdoctoral experience from all over the world, and that way we are very well placed and going ahead with the motivation. The motivation is, as our Vice Chancellor Professor G.K. Prabhu says, it's a temple of education, and we believe it's a temple of education, and the temple is also a place of worship and also a place of connect. And we try to develop the connect through this method and through this institution, not only with the students, but also with the society. And we would like to emphasize that even in this COVID period, we have about 90% placement. Out of 1,070 students, 932 are placed in the academic session 2019-2020. 2020-2021 is going on, and uniquely fantastic that our highest placement package was about 42 lakhs per annum. So the education that we are imparting is important for the industry too, and I believe that today's speaker, Dr. Syrish, welcome sir, and we are very grateful to you for spending your valuable time with us this afternoon. Particularly the topic today is very close to my heart, coming from the Council of Scientific and Industrial Research. I have been a part of academia, and also very much involved with several industrial projects. And a point of contention or debate I would like to put forward in a most humble manner. These two roads are really parallel, or they are intermingling with each other. I will leave that to Charu, to take that up with Dr. Syrish, but I believe that these two roads are basically intermingling with each other in their own courses, and that's how it should be, because a person in industry has to be academically trained first. Similarly, a person in academia must have the idea of what the industry needs. I can have 10 PhDs, doesn't matter if my research doesn't come to the use of industry. So in our Faculty of Science, also from the Faculty of Engineering, Dr. Abhishek Sharma is doing a lot of industrial projects, because There are problems in industry which we need to support as academicians. Similarly, we need to learn a lot from industry, how they focus, how they orient, how they take up the challenge, and how they overcome that. So that's a very good premise for today's webinar. And I congratulate all the organizers for making this venue available to all of us. And I wish this webinar and all the participants here all the best of success. Thank you for this brief opportunity to interact with you. That's all from my side. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your great insight on our institution, a legacy that we all are proud of. And I'm sure that the topic you have raised will be answered by sir very soon in the duration of this webinar. And this webinar is co-hosted by the School of Media and Communication, IT Infra, Manipal University Jaipur, Knowledge Partner, IMechE. May I now request our honorable speaker, Dr. Syrish Raghuyal, to kindly start the session on two parallel roads, academia and industry. So over to you.
Sir, I'm done. Madam, I'm done. Yeah.
Right. A very warm good afternoon to everyone. Thank you, Mukhopadhyay sir, for starting the debate beforehand, because I'm really grateful that you did. It is a brilliant topic I'm looking forward for, and yes, it is a matter of debate that are they really parallel or they are merging somewhere, but the lines are always blurred. I will take you through the presentation, and I'll show you my view of what I think or what I perceive, where the academia is and where the industry lies. And it is just a glimpse, especially for the students, to realize that these are the two big giants, and we have to close the gap. The point being is not where they merge or they're always parallel. The point being is that there's a gap and we have to close the gap, be it by merging them or by building a bridge. It is just irrespective. So should I start the presentation then? Right. First of all, I would like you all to be introduced to the Institution of Mechanical Engineers. This is a professional institution, and we do run a chapter in Manipal University Jaipur as well. So many of you have come across it, and I would leave the working of the mechanical institution, the Institution of Mechanical Engineers, up to our Ashish sir to go through with it. So I'll just go with my background first of all. So my name is Dr. Syrish Raghuyal. I finished my education in Bachelor of Engineering in Mechanical Engineering from Cardiff University. I did my PhD followed by the Bachelor's again through Cardiff University, and then I finished my MBA in 2018 through the Imperial College of London. So this was more or less my educational background, whereas my work experience is with the Chorus Steel. I did a placement year back in 2008, which was in the middle of my engineering, and that was the time when I got associated with industry very closely, and especially with the steel industry. So the Chorus Steel, I especially picked up with the Chorus Steel in 2010, which was an on-site work and PhD. This was later converted into Tata Steel. The Tata Steel, the Tata, the Indian giant, had taken over the Chorus Steel, and then I was working with Tata Steel on a full-time basis. Then I moved on with the Megatech International, which is an India-based company that does deal in the turnkey projects on cement plant installations across the globe. It has done plants installations in Venezuela, Uganda, Mozambique, Tanzania, Madagascar, South Africa, and Chad Republic. So it is purely international firm which does major big projects across the globe, especially in Africa and Latin America. And now I'm currently with the Positive Plastics. It is a part of the Positive Group where I look after the corporate activities, be it engineering, accounts, finance, HR activities, sales, purchase, or the bigger picture of strategic development of the business. moving on towards the IMechE. So with Institution of Mechanical Engineers, I've been an affiliate member with them since 2005. That is the start of my engineering or my college life, so to speak. This was the time when I was just getting introduced to what is mechanical engineers. So many of the students like yourselves have been introduced to mechanical engineers, and they have been quite helpful to me, because then I moved on to become the university rep, acknowledging the benefits of what an Institution of Mechanical Engineers would give me in terms of professional development. And then I moved on to the Young Members Panel, which is a big platform within Institution of Mechanical Engineers. It is the platform for the people, the gentlemen and the gentlewomen out there who are young and who are full of passion, young in their careers. And Institution of Mechanical Engineers provides another platform for you to have to interact, to take on network, to take on the competitions, gain the knowledge, and apply the knowledge as well in certain projects. Moving on from there, when I was associated with Tata, Tata had its own young professionals group, which was called Magnet. It was in conjunction with the Institution of Mechanical Engineers. I was the CPD officer and then the co-chair for the UK branch in looking after all the Tata Magnet young professionals and liaising with the Institution of Mechanical Engineers. So all in all, that was my mechanical Institution of Mechanical or professional development phase. Looking at my academics, I've done research papers and I've done the Environment Conference 2013 as well. I've done lots of guest lectures at Cardiff University and MIT, Manipal University. This one is one of those. I've done a lot of guest lectures in other universities in UK as well. I've done the final year project supervisor as well. So the students who are in the final years, so I've been their mentors. I've helped them complete the projects in engineering and in finance as well, because my major is MBA finance, but also my roots are with the Bachelor of Engineering in Mechanical. So I've got engineering and finance. I've done the projects with the students in both the fields. And internship trainer as well. We actively take on students for the campus placements as well in the positive group itself. I did for Tata as well, and I've been mentoring them since their inception in the industry, of the students' life inception in the industry. And I've been contributing to IMechE through my efforts here and there, such as this one, building the platform, and trying to cover up certain points across the industry or across the academia, which is this topic, which is close to my heart, which is the parallel road, which is one side is academia and one side is industry, and how we address that. And we'll go into this one. Right. So the topic is bridging the gap. It is not just talking about these are the parallel roads. It's about bridging the gap. So how, as a person in academia, and how the person in the industry, and as a student I'm talking about, so you're a student in the academic, in your college life, what are the things you're looking at? And then when you jump into the industry side, what are the things you're looking at? And to make this jump a lot easier and simple, we have to shorten the distance, because as we know, if there are two parallel lines which never meet, the only thing you can do is to reduce the distance between these two parallel lines, because they will never merge. And the other thing we'll do is build the bridge. So we are trying to build the bridge between these two lines, and we've got an academia person and we've got the industry person. Right. Before we go on to academia and industry, I want to come up with this push and pull method. First, I want you to realize that you are not in a push method, but you're in a pull method in academics. Because it is the inherent problem, I would say, in the society, that students are pushed into a line of a profession, be it a lawyer, be it an engineer, a doctor, or a person in commerce, so, or even sometimes a person in sports. So that is something which is being pushed onto you from the peer pressure, from what the society, the colleagues, the people around say make a noise, and then you get pushed into it. You get like it's like in a group, you just kind of move into it. That is the moving trend. So you just look at the trend. You don't look at what interests you, and that is the root cause, because a student has to realize, a student, he's afterwards a person, an individual has to realize that what is your personal interest, not the trend, not the peer pressure, and not at all the noise being created from the people around you. And definitely by not being pressed or pushed into it, or by bullied into a profession. So if you want to be a mechanical engineer, it should be in your heart that you want to be a mechanical engineer. If you want to be in any profession, you have to have your heart with it. If you don't have your heart with it, well, then you are more or less in push method. In a pull method, we look at that the person has got his own idea. He's a self-starter. He takes a self-motivation, or she takes a self-motivation, and the person takes a self-initiative. That yes, that is my interest. That is where I want to be. That is what I want to do. And that is the difference when you are going to start in your academics, in your professional career as well. That is where you want to be, not because you're pushed into it, but you're pulling the education to your own selves. That the education is not pushed into you. So the professors or your lecturers' work is not to push the knowledge into you. It should be you who has to grab the knowledge from them. You have to pull the knowledge onto your own self. Hence, we've got a push method, which is a no-no, and a pull method, which is a go-go. Right, so now we know the how or where you have to start. Let's look at benefits now. So benefits of academia is that you have a basic knowledge. You have a conceptual understanding of things. You study of various analytical tools and methods. You build a base, a technical base. You undergo an intensive writing skills, be it through the exams, be it through your projects, your reports, your assessments, assignments. You go through extensive writing skills. And technical papers, research papers. So you get the way, the things, the thoughts, the reports, the ideas, the research, the results should be presented. They should be presented in a proper manner. Be it just looking at the margins you leave, the font size you leave, or the language, the kind of language you use in presenting your report. Firstly, it should never be in the first person. So that is one of the examples in the academia we learn. We develop the technical understanding of be it hydraulics, be it engineering drawings, be it science principles, the scientific principles, the different theorems, the different methods. And then we also get a lot of resources for us to use. And these resources include the friends you make. And these people, some of your friends, will be established in a different industry somewhere down the line, and you may come across, and that will be your resource. The faculty you're meeting today is another very big resource for you. They're full of knowledge, they're full of experience, and you have to grab that. You have to absorb everything. The books, the library, and the other written matter or the online matter you are coming across. The lectures, the guest lectures you're coming across. These are all the resources you can pull into and you can utilize them. Preparation and grooming for the next step, which is a professionalism. So this is the institution, this is, as the sir said, this is the temple which will help you groom yourself. But they can only do is tell you. They cannot push onto you. So you have to pull it, you have to take everything. And this is the thing you have to do, is take everything. You have to understand, you have to absorb all that knowledge and all that experience this institution is going to give it to you. But looking at the industry side, what does the industry side hold for us? It holds the practical knowledge. There is a bit of a difference between a theory and a concept, and when it comes to the practical application and hands-on experience. like from my side, like when I'm a mechanical engineer, it does count a very it counts towards your experience when you look at just a bowl and you can see that, okay, what number Allen key I need to use. That is one of the experiences you will get, the hands-on experience, the practical knowledge, then the use of actual tools, the machines, the techniques in the real life situation. It is one thing to do a risk assessment and to do the whole analytical about it, that I'll build the bridge, I'll build this, I'll build that. But when it comes to the real life situations, it is very different. And then you have to manage with your resources. You have to manage with the money, one of the resources. You have to manage with the manpower, one of the resources. You have to manage with the time, which is another biggest resources. And then you have to manage with the materials and the tools which are available to you as well. So in the real life, the situations are a bit different to what the academia or in theory it would be. Then the professional or the job security, which is the progression and the growth. You have to look at that as well. Yes, you look at in the academics as well, from year 1 to year 2 to year 4, but that is much more defined. Whereas in industry, if you are not going to look after your own self, you will be left behind in the race. No one is going to come up and say that, hey, you are not progressing, or hey, you are not growing. So that is a very competitive world. Whereas in the university, you will be much more groomed, you will be taken care of, you've got your professors, you've got an inline, organized manner of a syllabus and a curriculum for you, and then the planner of exams and everything. But in profession, it is just deadlines and the things have to be get done. And if not, the consequences could be your job security. And that's the end of the story. It is very real over there. Then the management, as we're talking about the management, then the soft skills building. How are you going to manage your team? If there is a conflict in your team, how are you going to manage that? So that is another soft skills, which is very important in industry. How are you going to manage your money? How are you going to be very cost efficient? How are you going to be cost conscious? How are you going to do your budget controls? So these are the management or the soft skills. How are you going to manage your team, your time, your manpower resource? Everything is in that. Your conflicts, if some of your team members come and say they want to get have a day off, but you have an important deadline to attend to, what will you do? How will you attend to that conflict? So it gives you a wider view and the possibilities to explore, because then you are in an open big world. And how are you going to explore it? And then you also have a competition to look after as well. So the possibilities lead to another things as well. So utilization of conceptual and technical tools. And then the networking. As we said, you've got the resources in your academia, and this is where your networking will come into play. How is your relations in industrial relations? How is your knowledge about your competition, your supplier, your customers, your technical and the professional people in the line of business you are in? If you're in automotive, what are the other competition is doing? What is your supplier doing? What is your customer doing? And what are the other professionals in the automotive industry doing? So that is another picture, and this is the gap between we have in industry and in academia, that you have to switch your student mode from your student mode. You have to switch into your professional mode and going into the industry. And how you're going to do it? So you have to very well realize that the next step is going to be very real. So you have your academics, that is your base. You have got all your raw materials here. If you don't utilize this raw materials in time with the most efficient way, the bigger the gap is going to be, and the bigger the jump is going to be to go into the industry. And how are you going to go into the industry? So what are the requirements? We look at the academia. The students are required to go for the marks, the score, the passing of the various modules, obtaining the required credits. They have to indulge in other activities, extra activities. They have to go through the projects, do internships. They have to have the confidence of the technical knowledge they have, understanding of the real life concepts. And the most important is to learn and absorb. Learn and absorb everything you can from your faculty, because they are the gurus. They are full of experience and full of knowledge, and they are there to give, and you are there to take. So I would advise you to learn and absorb every last ounce of knowledge you can get there. And all these marks, the projects, the internships, these are the tools which are going to build you into a better professional when you'll be going into the industry. When the person or the people coming for your campus recruitment, they would see a confident young person, a man or a woman, there with a good or a great mark sheet, but not just a great mark sheet, but a confident person who's got a technical knowledge and who is realistic. Because as I mentioned, the industry is much more real and very real. They will talk about the very realistic problems. Cost is one of the major, competition is the other, and the tools, which are the time and the raw material, is the last bit they want to know. That how aware are you of these things? Because when I look at the industry, in the industry, how do you progress then? You've got appraisals, you've got your KPIs. Your KPIs is what it means is the key parameter indicators. How your job is being defined. It is defined by your cost saving activities, your cost improvement activities, your production or efficiency improvement activities, and what projects do you finish, or how quickly or how efficiently do you finish. You have to have a wider purview of understanding of problems and critical thinking, how goal-oriented you are, and what is your strategic plan, which is in line with your industry, with your company, with your organization you're working for. You have to have a sense of responsibility and reliability. Whereas being a student, you're being taken care of. You get pampered. You've got your lecturers are like your mom and dad who are there to take care of you. But when you go into the industry, you get a mentor, but that would be the end of it. When you start moving up the ladder, then you've got your responsibility, and the organization is going to rely on you. So how is your reliability factor shaping up? Can an organization, can your boss rely on you to finish the project on time? Or does he have to come constantly and check up on you? Are you ready for an independent project and take it on? And what kind of a quality or the service are you going to finish? Be it an internal customer, which is your boss, or an external customer, which is your actual buyer. So what kind of a quality are you finishing your project on? That is also an important question. What standards of quality do you follow? What norms the quality you follow? That is also important. And then we face the real life challenges anyways. In any organization, there are real life challenges, be it because of cost, because of people, because of the technology, because of the certain constraints in the process, whatever. But these are the challenges you have to overcome, and you have to be mature enough, confident enough, and bold enough to take on these challenges and go for it. So these are the what we call it, the benefits and the requirements of the two ends, I would say. But at the end, are you ready for the industry? But what are the expectations of industry from you, or what are the expectations of industry from you, or what are the expectations of yours from the industry? So let's have a look. So these are the values which the positive group, I would specifically discuss about the positive group. So these are the values we always look in a potential person. So a person coming from the academics after finishing his education, and he's coming into the industry now. And what are the values he should have? Prosperity, excellence, integrity, respect, and sustainability. I will go into these values now. So the prosperity is the growth and development. As I said, you have to have a continuous growth, and you should be contributing in the sales and the size of the organization. That's how the very first thing, how the company or any organization measures itself, is by the sales and by the growth. So are you contributing to it? And then the branding, obviously, the brand value of the organization, and how are you contributing to it? And are you carrying your own self-brand with it or not? Efficiency, one team, and challenges, as I said. So challenges, taking on bigger challenges and encouraging your team to take it on, delivering on those challenges. There's one thing to take on a challenge and then to deliver on those challenges as well. But how would you deliver? You deliver through excellence, the quality standards you strive to work accordingly, the innovation, delivering your results in time and in full. Operations, if you're going in an operational a manufacturing industry. So you're looking for a world-class manufacturing facility and excellent operational performance, but how will you get there? Through your theory, through the theory you have learned in your institution. This is the place where you will be doing a practical application of it. And the service could be internal, which is within the company, or the external, which is outside the company, but it has to be honest and to an exceptional standard. Respect, it is very important. It is very important for any organization and to have this value, and they look at this value in every individual associated with the organization, and that is the respect. Respecting your customers, your suppliers, laws and regulations, and employees, your fellow co-workers, and the environment. That we have a duty towards environment as well, and we should be respecting the environment we live in. This is one of the most important value, that is integrity. Integrity, as the word itself is, that how honest, how ethical you are, how do you communicate? And people, do you respect them, and do you abide by an actual code of conduct? And do you abide by a professionalism, and you have a set principles? And then the last one is sustainability. Well, sustainability, you have all the values, but are you able to sustain them, or you're just for a fraction of a second? So you've got the values, but your values should be for the duration of the organization, and the organization stay for very long. You've got the future to look at, what legacy you are leaving behind. So let's say you move on from one organization to the other, but what are you leaving behind? Are you leaving behind a good taste of your professional attitude, or you're leaving behind something which people would not want to have ever again? So the relationships you build, because remember, you're always there to create long-term and healthy relationships. And as I said, reliability, to deliver on your promises, because your word is everything. And then at the end is the business governance, practicing the good business governance amongst all stakeholders. So these are the 5 values we talked about. So prosperity, sustainability, respect, integrity, and excellence. So let's conclude now. So in conclusion, so academia and industry are the 2 parallel roads, but we can reduce the gap and have the jump from one end to the other, which will be a bit easier and simpler, and we will build a bridge. So we went through a push and a pull method, and remember your approach towards your academia, towards your education. How are you doing it? Are you pulling it, or is the education is being pushed onto you? Because if you're pulling it, well, you're on the right track. If it's being pushed onto you, there is still time for you to improve and get into the pull mode, because that will be much more helpful to you. And then we realize the benefits and the requirements of both the academia and the industry. So the academia, well, there's a theory, there's a knowledge, there's a base building, there's a resource generation, and you get monitored through scores, the credits, the marks, the projects you do. And that's how that will reflect on your industry then, because you will be a more professional person. You have a better vision for your career and for the company. You'll face real life challenges, real life experiences. You will have to face or go through a progress and a growth which will be self-disciplined and self-monitored. And then you have to deliver on a quality and a professional, in a professional quality excellence way. And the industry demands KPIs, appraisals. You have to be goal-oriented. You have to have a strategic plan, because that's what the organizations would ask from you as accomplished individuals and the professionals. At last, again, I want to emphasize on the expectation of the industry is the values, the core values every organization carries, be it Reliance, be it British Petroleum, be it Shell, be it Tata Steel, or any organization you want to know about. You will always find their core values. They will differ a bit from the other, but at the heart of it, they'll always be the same, which will be the prosperity, the excellence. You have to respect your fellow employees, the customers, the laws, the compliances which is guiding us, the government, the integrity of the person, and then at the end is the sustainability, to sustain, to keep it going, because it's one point or one thing to achieve something, but it is the different to keep it sustained and keep it going. So at the end, I would say thank you, and thank you for listening to me and bearing to understand all the points I tried to convey. If you've got any questions, please let me know.
Thank you so much, sir. There are a few questions that you would like to ask. Proceed with that. Okay, so the first question is how the gap between industry and academia can be fulfilled? Right. What are the ways in which this can be done?
Right, so that's what more or less the presentation was about. But well, that's what I'm trying to tell you, that the academia is on the one end, which gives you all the knowledge, the theory, the base building, the technical. On the other side, the industry is demanding all this. And this is how you have to understand that if you are in the push method, if you're not able to grasp everything because you are being forced into it, many times the students get forced into it by the peer pressure, by the trend, by your friends, by anyone. And you realize probably down the line that, well, mechanical engineering was not for me. So it is a time for you to realize right now that, well, this is the time for me to realize that this is the industry I want to be in. And the other thing you have to do is, by reducing the gap, is by realizing that if you're a mechanical engineer, what kind of industry is out there, what it is doing. And do yourself a favor by writing down your next 5 years plan. If I may, all of you, write down your 5-year plan. What do you want to do after your degree? Or let me put it in the other way. 5 years from today, where do you see yourself? That is the best way to ask. If you can sit down your own self in a solitude, in a closed room, and think what should be doing after 5 years on today, then you will be able to realize that if you're studying mechanical engineering and you're thinking that after 5 years I want to be a salesperson in a good company, well, I'm missing a link somewhere. Do you understand? Or you are saying that after 5 years you should be doing an MBA. Well, okay, but do you have a justification for that? Do you have a roadmap for that? Why do you want to do an MBA in finance when you don't have a justification for that? That's what I did for myself. I came up with a very clear justification for why I want to do this. And that's how I landed up here. Similarly, I would ask you all to do a justification for your own self, that what you will be doing after 5 years. And then only you will be able to close the gap, that you know where you want to go. Change the push attitude to the pull attitude, and that will be the turning point for you. Right.
Well, I guess our audience got to learn a lot from this one. There's another question which has come up. If industry persons are invited for 6 months academia work, how would they benefit the academics of an institute and its student?
This does happen when the professional people they are so engrossed in the daily job routines that the companies really don't allow them to go for a full-time or a 6-month academic work. But what we do is we offer the projects. We offer the projects where when you're in the real life scenarios, we do need the academics help. This is where the Mukhopadhyay's point come across as well, that they cross the lines or the lines get blurred. when we are stuck in the, like I'll use my own example. When we were in the industrial waste management, we were stuck with a very real life problem that there was a hazardous waste being generated at the company, and we could not find a way to dispose it. And then we had to convert it into a project, an academic project, and that was given to the student. And fortunately, that student was me at that time, and I worked on it for 1 whole year. And then I went back to the industry with the report, and that project turned into a £3.6 million project. And that was installed and was working and still working with the zero waste project. So the crossover does happen. It is not just one-way stream from academics to the industry, but industry does look at the academics as well. And that's why I said that academics is the base building. It is the technical hub, and industry is the real application. Real application cannot happen in academics because the academics will miss out on the scope of problem. Academics need the scope of problem for industry, whereas the industry needs the technical help from the academics. So that is where what happens. So the industry does this, the 6 month you are mentioning. So the industries do it, do give the final year projects. This is the one way the industry try to look for the technical help, or they give the PhD projects as well. That is the another way the industry looks for help from the academics.
Thank you so much, sir. I guess that was really helpful, and these were all the questions which we got from our audience. And I would really like to thank you for such an insightful session, and for clearing up all the doubts which people had. And I would now like to request Dr. Syrish Raghuyal to please present the final vote of thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I extend my gratitude towards Dr. Syrish Raghuyal, Managing Director, Positive Group of Companies, for such a thought-provoking session. Thank you very much, sir. Special thanks to Mr. Piyush Sethi, Young Member Chairperson, South Asia Region, IMechE, for providing the support to organize this webinar. Thank you, Piyush, sir. On behalf of IMechE Student Chapter, I extend my thanks to Honorable Professor G.K. Prabhu, sir, President, Manipal University Jaipur. Jaipur, sir, your leadership is guiding force to us. I extend my vote of thanks to Professor Anand Sharma, sir, Pro-President, Manipal University Jaipur, who visualized this webinar series, Education for Generation Z. I would also like to give my gratitude towards respected Registrar, sir, IMechE, for providing us unconditional support for smooth conduction of this webinar. Also, I cordial thanks to Professor Anup Kumar Mukhopadhyay, sir, Dean, Faculty of Science, Manipal University Jaipur, for being a part of this initiative. I would like to thank Ms. Charu Sharma, student of Media and Communication, for being the anchor of this show. Thank you, Charu. I acknowledge the contribution of IT team, especially Tanuj Goswami ji and Tarachan ji. I want to give my special thanks to Department of Journalism and Mass Communication, especially Mr. Apu Saxena ji, for providing the technical assistance. I would be grateful for each and every contributor who made this event a success, and above all, I would like to thank to our enthusiastic audience, especially youth of this nation, since they would be the change in society. Thank you. Thanks to all of you.
And with this, we come to the end of this insightful session where we just didn't only learn from the presentation, but through the real life experience as well. So here's an announcement for our audience that you all will receive your e-certificates via email really soon. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you.